everyone, we're back, and today we're going to talk about a really unique phonetic pattern. We know that it's always about the vowels, and whether the vowel is long or short. But today's pattern actually kind of breaks that rule. So we know usually when a vowel is followed by a keeper consonant, the vowel is short, right? But in today's pattern, these welded sounds or vowel endings actually break that rule. This is ost. Interesting, right? So in these patterns this week, we call these vowel endings or welded sounds, and we need to train our brain to just see this as a unique rule breaker. So this says ost, olt, and old. What should this represent or spell? Ild, right? But this is actually ild and eind. And finally, we have this should say ink, right? But in fact, this says ink and ink. So we're going to practice working with these welded sounds or vowel endings all week so that we can really start to just visually recognize that they're unique patterns that we have to know. Let's try some on the blending board. This would say link, zinc, zank, zold, doled, polled, post, dosed, dolt, folt, find, filed, niled, and mild. So the reason that these are on one card is not because it's one sound like we normally do, but so that we can visually weld these together to recognize the unique sounds that these graphemes make. So we do still know that we can hear the sounds ild, right? There are 3 sounds to this, but we put it on one card so that we have a visual cue that this is that interesting vowel ending that breaks the typical phonetic pattern. Okay, the other interesting thing about this phonetic pattern is that it usually holds true for one syllable, unless we have a compound word or we add suffixes or prefixes to it. So let's play around a little bit with a couple words that are 2 syllables but follow these rules. Okay, so now let's take a look at when we do see these words in 2 syllables. We actually only find this welded pattern in single syllable words, except for when we have compound words, 2 words that can stand by themselves together, or when we add affixes, like a prefix or a suffix. So let's take a look at this word. I come to this word in text and I don't know what it is, and I want to divide it into syllables so I can read one syllable at a time. Right away, I'm going to do what? I'm going to find my vowels. And when I find my vowels, this time I'm going to notice right away that I have a welded vowel ending. So I'm going to circle that because that is not necessarily just a vowel sound, but I want to make that visual cue. Oh, this is that vowel ending that makes the long sound. Then I'd go ahead and just do my syllable division. And I notice this time I have an ending blend and a digraph, and both of those things have to stay together. So when I have two consonants between the vowels, they slide and divide. My first syllable is grand. My second syllable, I've already noticed the ild, so I read it as child. This is grandchild. So we have a compound word. Grand is a real word, and so is child, grandchild. Okay, let's do another one. How about this word? Right away, I'm going to look for and notice that I have a suffix. So I'm going to not even really divide the syllables using vowels this time. Instead, I'm just going to notice this is suffix ly, and it makes its own syllable. So this is mostly or mostly. You've got it. I need to remember to look for this welded sound, and when I see these letters together, I know that it makes the long vowel O. So this is mostly. And the final one, same pattern. I have a welded sound and a suffix. So I'm going to right away take off my suffix, and I have thank. It's hard to even say that. Thankful or thankful. You're right. It's a welded sound that makes the A sound. So this word is thankful. Okay, that's decoding. Encoding is a little bit tricky. And in fact, some of the grown-ups can't even agree on how to do this. So there are really two different ways that you can write these words. If you're going to use sound boxes, you can divide each phoneme like we usually have, and it would look like this. If I have the word blind, I would say b, l, I, n, d. And I technically have 5 phonemes, right? I just know that this I is making the long I sound because that's a welded sound. How I like to do it is I like to just visually put those together so I'm reminded and my brain automatically sees it as a unit or a welded sound. So I'm going to say b, l, eind, and I'm going to put eind in one box. Either way is okay. If you're dividing it by actual sounds, you would do this way. If you're dividing it by a unit of sound, you can do it this way. Let's try another couple. Let's do the word sold. Tap out the sounds in sold. S, old. I actually have 4 sounds. This is dividing it by phonemes. Now let's divide it by sound units. S, old. And I put it in one box to just have a visual cue that that is a vowel ending. Either way is okay. You just have to decide as a class or let your teacher decide which way you're going to do. Let's do a couple that have 2 syllables. So we know that these are really single syllable vowel endings that we're adding affixes or compound words. Let's do the word unkind. Un is my prefix that means not. Kind. K-eind. And I like to just say eind as I write it to remind myself that that I is long. How about the word sinking? The ship was sinking. Sinking, and I'm going to have ink, ink, and I just know that I-N-K spells ink. sinking. The ship was sinking. So this is going to be really important that you have lots and lots of practice matching the sound to these graphemes. And you could just go through the card deck lots of times, really training your brain or orthographically mapping these welded sounds to the correct letters. This is ild, eind, olt, ost, old, ank, and ink. Have fun this week, and I'll see you next time.